Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined by my guy Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we are looking at player props here on a Wednesday night, Nate. We've got 9 games to choose from, so we've got a couple other game videos up as well. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. You can continue to follow along with us. I do want to let you know we've got a special bonus episode coming up for you guys as well with Mark Medina from NBA.com, who wrote a great article after surveying 30 different media members to find out what they thought would happen the rest of the way of the season. So we are going to take a look at what they said, compare that to some of these betting odds, the futures markets that we have in the NBA for these awards, and a few other things like that. So definitely continue to follow along so you can check that out when it comes up in a few days. Also head to thelines.com. We've got everything you need up there as well. And we have our odds finder tool that you can use to make sure that you're getting the best juice back as you're looking across all these US sports books offering you guys NBA player prop odds this season. So let's go ahead and jump right into your first player prop here, Nate. We've got a guy named Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, Bradley Beal, it sounds like might return tonight from that hamstring injury, and I think that's why we're getting the zinger at 20.5 points instead of where it probably should be at least 21, 22. He's averaging 23.3 in his last 9, along with 8 boards. You do get plus odds on 8.5 boards if you're interested in juicing it, but I think it's the points is a safer bet here. Against the Knicks team that, of course, he was drafted by, and he had 21-4 against them just 5-6 days ago here, and only shot 6 for 19 from the floor, but did hit 4 threes. The Knicks, in their last 3 here, given up an above-average 53 rebounds, a 118 defensive rating. They've been surprisingly high scoring in basically every matchup as Brunson and Randall just continue to eat. So I think there'll be some back and forth action here. Might go over 222. And it's the idea that Beal is going to limit Porzingis' usage. I think, yeah, we've seen a little bit of a drop off from like 26 to 23% usage, but the efficiency has gone up with Bradley Beal out there. In his last 2, he has 23 points per game, 9.5 rebounds per game against really tough interior defenses, Milwaukee and Philly. So if you're worried about the Knicks being that they limit paint points, I understand, but he's shown that he can score on this team. I mean, the time before that, since joining Washington, 29 points, rebounds in 29 minutes, a 23-12 game the previous time with Dallas. So I think he's getting over 20 points here tonight, whether or not Beal plays.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with it. When he's been healthy and playing this season, that's what he's doing. That's why the last 9 have looked so good. He's been in the lineup the whole time. So, another maybe mini revenge factor. Either way, seems to like playing the Knicks since he left them. So I would agree with that. And like you said, Knicks playing at a much better or much faster pace anyway, especially since RJ's been back in the last roughly like 4 games. So I think that's contributing to that increase in pace. Moving on to a guy named Triple J, probably at least Nate's right now pick for Defensive Player of the Year, as he mentioned in that Grizzlies video where we talk about them versus the Cavs. 21.5 points and rebounds tonight for him. That's on DK at minus 120. Also always looking at those blocks. 2.5 blocks is plus 125 on DK. If you want to add a steal to that, make it 3.5 stocks. That does take it down a bit to plus 105 there, but it is a little bit more likely to it gives you a little bit more leeway to add the steals as well. But during this 10-game win streak for this Memphis Grizzlies team, he is averaging about 18 a game and 8 boards, gets you well over his PR there, his points and rebounds. He's also averaging close to 4 blocks in that time frame, which gets you over the 2.5 blocks either way. So, I mean, these props are set up with some pretty good odds for you to hit them based on the way he's been playing as they've been winning. And the thing is, he's only playing about 28 minutes a game, and they haven't needed him very much down the stretch after they pull away in these third quarters, as you also pointed out in the video. 22% usage rate, but a plus 118 over the course of that 10-game streak in his about 278 minutes, if you will, that he's played. Plus 118 is very, very good for that amount of time. Last 4 versus Cleveland, 17 points a game with about a 25% usage rate, so he's getting a bit more shots up. The rebounds will come. He has struggled a bit, but you look at his defensive rebound rate this year, up from 17 to 19%, and his personal efficiency rating as well, up from 17 to 24 this year. So he's been much, much more efficient, not turning the ball over, which really helps, and putting up those rebounds to get a few more second chance points. So I think it's just a good opportunity for him him in a game that I think we do like points, but we do like a little bit more pace than you might consider for the Cavs as well with Memphis and the way they're playing at home. So I think there's the opportunity for stats for sure.
It's a game where we like Memphis to win for sure, and for Memphis to put up points, and Triple J being the catalyst on both ends. I mean, he's taken such a leap this year. I don't think he's my pick for Defensive Player of the Year. He is the objective pick at this point. He's blocking 11% of all 2-pointers that the other team takes, which is just utterly absurd. I think he has like three plus blocks in like 7 of the last 8 or something. So for that to be plus 125, even though it might not be the most ideal matchup for him to pile up blocks, I think, you jump on those odds. Domantas Sabonis at the Lakers here in a game with a 246 total. You can call this guy like Ben Simmons on steroids right now, the way he puts up his numbers. And maybe you want to take 22.5 rebounds, assists. I mean, he's the leading rebounder in the league. Number one in terms of rebounds per game, in terms of defensive rebounding rate. It's a Lakers team that plays at an insane pace at home. He had 10 of the 21 defensive rebounds when they hosted the Lakers a couple weeks ago. And that they only had 21 defensive rebounds because the Lakers shot an impossible 61% from the floor. That's just not going to happen again. There's going to be more available rebounds. And in his last 10 road games, Sabonis averaging nearly 14 boards and nearly 21 points, which is where your PR bet is here. Points, rebounds, over 35.5 is where I would go. In his first matchup with the Lakers this season, I mean, he had a little bit of foul trouble, still went for 21, 10, and 6. And then the last 2, he's averaging 19 points, 16.5 boards, and 9.5 assists. Again, even though the Lakers had a crazy shooting night that last time out. By the way, he came back with 25 points on a 27% usage rate. So it's not like the Lakers playing more Thomas Bryant or Wenyen Gabriel has been a tough one for Sabonis. And like I said, the rebounds and assists, just a constant triple-double threat. You're not even getting very good odds on the triple-double in a win for Sabonis. I did check that, and that's just not worth it. But I think he's a very good bet here for 22.5 rebounds and assists in a game that just should be up and down and played at a high pace.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you take rebounds and throw it into whatever you want with him, you should feel pretty good about it. They're obviously very, very high at about 15.5, right? Or so for 14.5, depending where you find it, just for him to get that. But I mean, for him to get 2 more rebounds, let's say, than his average on the season doesn't feel like it's impossible against a team where, like you said, the Lakers are just playing at a pace where they're going to be scoring close to 270 every time they're playing at home with a team that can keep up with them. And even against the Rockets the other night, a team that couldn't really keep up with them, still scoring a ton of points to get close to 240 and over. But either way, Sabonis should be an all-star in my opinion. It's pretty crowded, but the 36 PR for him feels like a pretty good bet, even though it's high, but it is really, really good odds for him. So I think, like I said, adding rebounds to anything that you take with him tonight feels pretty good. So let's close this one out, Nate, with a guy that's been super hot, Josh Giddey on the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have been on a tear as well as of late, and they get the Pacers at home tonight. 33.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Not the best odds I could find there is minus 125. You can also get 35.5 PRA if you go to FanDuel and get it down to about minus 113. And I think I'm going to forego the juice and just take him to get the 34 total PRA, just because there's also a blowout factor in this one, in my opinion. If the Thunder continue to play offense the way they have, a Halliburton-less Indiana Pacers team might not be able to keep up with them quite as much, but Giddey in his last 4, 23, 10, and 8 gets you well over that 33.5, playing 34 minutes a game with 28% usage. That's up about 5% from his 23% usage on the season. It's actually why he's had a slight decrease in assists over his last 4, to be honest with you, even though he's at about that 8 a game. There's been a couple in there where he only had like 3 or 2 assists, but this is a team, Indiana, that allows the 4th most assists per game in their last 10, and the 3rd most assists per game to point guards on the season. So I think there's some opportunity for Giddey to just continue to play at this torrid pace that he is playing, really alongside Shea in a way that, he's really complimentary now and putting up some pretty nice rebounding numbers that are getting him some second chance points, as he's about 10 boards a game in his last 4, like I said. So just a really good opportunity and a good spot against a Indiana team that might be faltering until they get Halliburton back.
Yeah, you say alongside Shea, and really it's been the counter for OKC is as other teams, kind of since Miami kind of play the drop back zone and limited Shea. He's gone under 29 points in 3 of his last 4, the exception being against the Maxey Harden backcourt that he just roasted. So under 29.5 points is scary against a team that plays pretty poor defense on the road. But I think you can kind of take the same angle by saying over on Giddey, because the Thunder, when they get the ball out of his hands, then the Thunder just start playing through Giddey and they start moving it around. And we saw some explosions, including a 150 on the Celtics, even with SGA out of the lineup, because Giddey has been that kind of catalyst.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, with him in an offense, he can pretty much create that instant offense. He's so freaking tall, gets those rebounds, and then just starts the break, which is huge. So love him tonight. Continue to follow along with us. Like and subscribe to that page. Check out our episode coming up with Mark Medina about those future awards and his great article surveying the media about what they think is going to happen this season. So until we see you next, happy betting.